Yeah, listen. Listen. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Impromptu with my co-host Pastor Norman
Well,
in
good.
South Carolina, and my sidekick coming in the house here. And I hope you're doing well. Linda is the first one and the only one right now. Linda, I'm glad you're here,
Hello.
darling.
Linda, Linda, Linda.
Linda,
Hello out there,
Linda,
everybody.
Linda. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I know how it is when you're moving, and that's a lot of work, isn't it?
It is, Mom. It
Mm,
is a whole lot of work. I need 2 weeks of vacation.
I'm sure. I am positive. I watched a little bit of you Wednesday. Yeah, I watched a little bit of you last Wednesday. Still talking about world changers.
Hmm.
Give me an idea of what your theme is when you're talking about world changers.
Well, pretty much the concept of becoming a world changer. Of course, we've been on the theme of living in an atmosphere of change. And I believe we shared on last week the incident that happened when I woke one morning. I heard uh, about the difference between being on the side of reacting or being
Mhm.
proactive when it comes to change. And so when we talk about being reactive to change, we are waiting for change to occur and then we respond or react to it versus being proactive. We are initiating the change. And so when I talk about being world changers, I'm not just talking about in reference to the world as the earth, or I'm talking about systems, I'm talking about customs, I'm talking about cultures. I'm talking about if you're not happy with uh, the world or the environment that you're in right now, you have the power and authority to create that change. And
Yeah.
so we have to ask ourselves the question. There are things that are going to happen that is inevitable. But at the
Yeah.
same time, because we're created in the image and the likeness, and we're as God, we have the ability and the capacity to initiate some things. And
Yeah.
so that's pretty much what the direction that I'm going with becoming a world changer. Of course, because of all the things that's happening um, in our world today, in our society, it is so many things that's happening, but we're sitting back waiting to hear, and then we react and respond. And most of the times, our reaction is not a favorable reaction. We become disgusted, we become frustrated. We're beginning to ask the question, why? I've been researching here what spiritual depression is all about based off of Isaiah 60 verse 1, what I read it out of the Amplified Bible, and I may share a little bit of that today as well. But that's the purpose of the a focus of becoming a world changer, this being on a part of being proactive versus reactive.
Okay. And you took that direction. I think because you're going through such change in your brick and mortar occupation and all of that. So that makes sense. But this on a spiritual level, we have to have the realization that this is not a permanent place. That there is nothing in this physical world that is permanent. There is the only thing that is permanent is the essence of who we are and what we are, which is God itself. God, which realizes it is the many, and the many that is realizing it is the one.
Mhm.
Uh, and so that self realization is key, especially during these times of such upheaval. Um, because if we don't know who we are, we will respond, we will react in ways that will not bring the change, that
Exactly.
the positive change that we're looking for. We'll have what I call meltdowns, and those meltdowns are simply my acting out of my fear and my anger and all of those things, and that does not bring positive change to anything.
Mhm. Yep. And when you just described that just now, I'm gonna go ahead and read that because it's one of my favorite verses, but I never looked at it in another translation. But everything that you just said about the anger, the frustration, those are all signs of a person that's going through what they classify as spiritual depression. And
Mm-hmm.
so, of course, we know that in the midst of the pandemic and all that's going on now, we are still yet dealing with so much unrest in our nation and around the world that a lot of people are experiencing spiritual depression. And then the main topic has been once again mental health.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
um, I came across the scripture. Like I said, I use it quite often. Isaiah 6, where it says, "Arise and shine, for thy light is come, and the glory of the Lord is risen upon you." But when I read it out of the Amplified Bible, it brought more light to
Okay.
me. It gave me some sense of enlightenment and direction. It said, "Arise from spiritual depression to a new life. Shine, be radiant with the glory and brilliance of the Lord, for your light has come, not the Lord, like your light has come, and the
Mm-hmm.
glory and the brilliance of the Lord has risen upon you."
You,
And
yes.
so that it hit me because I realized you mentioned something a while back about there's no light in our government right now.
Yeah, very
Um,
little. Very little. That's wrong.
and that stuck to me when I read this particular verse because I'm realizing we are lights. Even as
Yes.
I'm connected with you guys, and y'all been such a great inspiration to me. Y'all have been a light to me, and so y'all have brought me into a place of enlightenment, a place of awakening. A person that is considered a light is also considered a luminary, which is one
Mm-hmm.
that has become very aware and very knowledgeable in a specific field that they operate in. And so I've been reading that and studying that, realizing more about us separate and apart from the confinement of religion. And as I was
Mm-hmm.
sharing last night, when we ever use the word call, people always think about in sacred gatherings. If I'm called to be a preacher,
Yeah.
if I'm called to be a prophet, if I'm called to be a deacon, and so forth and so on. And it's much more to it. And that has
Mm-hmm.
limited us from who we really are because we have been confined or placed in a box. And so I realized the word call is just making reference once again to one of the reasons or the role or the purpose that I am in the earth on this side, separate and apart from the other dimension. Why am
Yeah.
I here? And
Yeah.
so I could be called to be a cook. You see what I'm saying? If
Sure.
I
Sure.
have skills to cook, then hey, that's my role. We
Sure.
always just thinking about church, 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 and it's much more to us than meet the eye. And so we have to become a light in different fields of life as well.
Yeah. And in the confines of the prophetic language, they call it the marketplace anointing. So we have, and we've celebrated people who were called to ministry in the sacred sense of being in the pulpit and that kind of thing, or called to minister healing, or called to minister those kinds of things. But we haven't been celebratory of people who have been called to be a cook, called to be uh, a person who does laundry. I mean, that is a calling, and we don't realize that our essence touches those places. And when like for instance, well, the person is called to do laundry would think, well, this is just a menial task, but I'm touching the clothes and the materials that are going to touch other people. If you go back to the confines of the scriptures, they cut aprons and pieces of aprons and made them prayer cloths. So those actual clothes or things that they're washing and fixing could actually have the essence and power of prayer in them. And
Right.
that's what we miss it, because we've separated the secular from the sacred. And
Exactly.
our whole lives is sacred. Our
Mhm.
entire life is sacred. Every part of our life, God is in every part of our life. And we've kind of, in the church particularly, we've separated that from when God is present and when God is not. And we think that God is not present when we're just sitting at the table talking to our family.
Mhm.
And God is right here when you're cooking those potatoes and peeling those potatoes. God is right there. So it's again a symptom of separation. It's
Mhm.
a symptom of separation. I wanted to say what Linda put up, and that's good, Linda. She said, "I like to say what you resist will persist."
Mhm.
Yes, And hello, Myrna. She said, I'm a cook. She said, it's funny. Yeah, and you're called to that,
Mhm.
and there's the essence that comes through you while you're doing that. Hey, Buzz,
Exactly.
he said everything we do is spiritual. Yes,
I
sir.
like that. I like that. Yeah.
Everything we do.
And if we could just awaken to that fact, and I like what she said about her being a cook, because like you said earlier, we don't celebrate those areas. We want to make, such great emphasis on, oh my God, you are an apostle. Oh my God, you are a bishop or whatever. But we must understand every role is very vital to the big picture in the scheme of things. We need
Yes.
every person fulfilling whatever they're called and whatever areas they're gifted in. Like I did last night, I was explaining the difference between the words that we use in church circle, called, gifted, and anointed. And
Mm-hmm.
so the word called just simply means your vocation. What is your role? I mean, when you're on your place of employment, you have a specific role or task that you've been hired for, your job description. That is what you
Yes.
get to fulfill. And
Yes.
so if we look at it at a broader sense, when we're trying to understand purpose, and even though we're one with God, we're one with God, and we have a purpose of being in this particular dimension to fulfill a role, such as Jeremiah. When God said, I called you to be a prophet, I know that you had set you apart because I knew you before I formed you in your mother's womb. So he was
Yes. Yes.
announcing to Jeremiah, in as Jeremiah being one with God, what his particular task as Jeremiah would be in the earth. And so a lot of people are still yet trying to discover purpose and reasoning for their existence. And so again, call is just simply that role, that task. What are your assignment? What's your reason for being here? And then when we talked about being gifted, that's just special abilities that each one of us have. Someone may
Mhm.
be gifted in the area of music. Someone may
Mhm.
be gifted in the area of singing. Someone may be gifted, like yourself, mom, in writing,
Yes.
so forth and so on. A dad gifted in the area of mysticism, and so forth. And so we all are,
And some people have the gift of gab.
and I do. And that's, see, I dealt with that challenge in the church when I
Mhm.
came up in the church. Yes, I sang on choirs, even at Cornerstone. I sang on the choir,
Oh
but
man, we all
I
did.
was only a background singer. I was
Mhm.
never gifted or talented enough to lead. All right,
Mhm.
that just was not my gifting, and
Mhm.
so I wrestled for many years, even though with the awareness of the prophetic ability. Of course, Dad was the one that grew me and mentored me in that area. I never knew anything. It was happening to me while I was here in South Carolina, and I had no one to explain it to me until I met
Mhm.
you guys. And
Yeah.
that's when Dad really helped me to understand a lot about that sphere of influence. And
Mhm.
so I dealt with that. Why am I in the church? What am I gifted at? I grew up being an athlete. I'm a person that loved, academics and so forth. But in the church, I was having a hard time figuring out where I fit. Now, yes, leadership has always been a role in my life. But I was still yet looking for the gift, like singing and playing music. I didn't have that. And then it came to my awareness not too many years ago that I'm just gifted with the gift of gap. So when I became aware of that,
Oh.
I tease my mom all the time because even as when I was little in elementary school, I always had this tendency of always, I would finish my work first, and I would always have this tendency to be helping other kids out, but not getting permission from the teacher. And so every time the report cards would come out, my mom would look at the report card. I would either have straight A's or A's.
Mhm.
I was always very good in the area of education. But when she would flip the card over on the back in the comment section in big red letters, it will always say, Norman is a pleasure to teach, but he talks too much. And I was for that. And so I teased my mom even today. I said, see, mom, the thing that you was punishing me for was actually an indication of where I would end up in my life. And so I tell you, you was
Yeah,
not right for
yeah.
punishing me for talking too much because I have the gift of gab.
And in saying that too, Norman, I think what we've done, we've been guilty of, is suppressing a lot of children's natural gift because it didn't fit into the box that we wanted them to fit into, and we've hindered a lot of them. But when you go back to purpose, and like you said, people are really wanting to know what their purpose is. But I've come to realize one thing, that there's an ego. The ego has dreams of being something,
Mhm.
and those egoic dreams tend to cause us to have suffering because we're comparing ourselves to others, and then it makes us feel like we're lesser than if we're not measuring up. And so those egoic dreams sometimes, well, most of the times, those egoic dreams are squashed. God will deliberately squash an ego dream because it is born of the ego. It's born out of wanting to be as good as or better than. And then uh, for a dream to be true, for the dream, the purpose of your life to be true. And I'll use Oliver as an example because I even wrote a poem about Oliver. Hey, Ollie, uh, how a dream is born. And in his case, it came out of the blue, and his last name is Blue. Uh, so the purpose, your purpose, is born out of a deeper level of understanding of yourself, and a deeper passion to make something happen that has nothing to do with what other people have done, what other people, how effective other people are. And so that desire to be successful a lot of times is born from an ego dream. And that's when people get into frustration because the ego dream doesn't come to pass, because God will not allow the ego, especially when you're on the path of oneness. God won't allow the ego to succeed.
Exactly, exactly. And I'm glad you said that, Mom, because even as people have been following again this journey once again on Impromptu in the place of awakening,
Mhm.
some people I have had to give a little guidance because again they have been conditioned to think one certain way, and so they're having a hard time becoming open minded. And one of the factors that as I'm talking about becoming a world changer, a person that's a world changer has a progressive mindset. All right,
Yes,
and
yes.
so I had to share with them. That what we're talking about as being one with God, we're talking about the essence of who we really are. Now we do understand that we're in also in a natural world, or this natural, what we call this dimension. So we're not sitting that no, you're not supposed to not do anything.
Right,
You sit
right,
home
right.
and just awaken and don't go out work and not doing. That's not what we're saying. All right, when we talk about being one,
Definitely not what we're saying.
no, we're not, and that's what a lot of people are misunderstanding. So I said no. What we're talking about is the identify or helping you understand who you really are, separate and apart again from the ego, that person or that individual, that false identity that was conditioned or made by the influences of this world. All
Yes,
right.
yes,
And
yes.
so I had to share with them, and you said it just now, when the dreams that we're trying to fulfill is predicated on the opinions and the perceptions of everybody and what they're trying to project on us.
Mm-hmm,
And so
mm-hmm.
in order, and I'll just use this for quote unquote the sacred circle or religious circles, a person that has achieved what we call mega ministry. You're the leader of 10,000 members or whatever. We perceive that as being successful.
Mm-hmm.
But what about those same individuals who years down the road, because they experienced what we talked about, spiritual depression, they walked away from it.
Okay.
And of course, I've been doing my research. About 4,000 pastors or spiritual leaders are walking away from their pulpits and ministry
Yes.
because of a lot
Yes.
of different factors. Now we view them as being failures, and
Hmm.
that is not a good thing to do. That's why Jesus said, "Judge not," because we don't understand the journey that each person is, embarking on. And so maybe these guys or even females walked away because they discovered this is not it for me. I was doing it
That's
because
that's
I was trying to fulfill a dream that somebody else was projecting on me.
yes. And where did the idea come that once we're called or given the task of fulfilling a certain duty or work at giving the mission of fulfilling a certain task, I should say, where do we get the idea that that's forever and always? And
Exactly.
there a purpose can be flexible. It may not be just one thing for the rest of your life.
Exactly.
In fact, I really firmly believe that, and even beyond belief, I know that purpose has to do with what you're called to do right now, right this minute. And it may not have anything lofty to it. It may not have anything notable to it, but it's what you're called to do right now. Mothers are called to take care of their families, and
Exactly.
that purpose is served when they do that, when she does that without resentment and without wanting to be more. And this wanting to be more is coming from the ego.
Hmm.
That's what I want to make sure that everyone knows. This wanting to be more is not born from the heart,
Hmm.
because the heart is already complete. And we got some great comments. Let me put some of these up here because we kind of going on. Forgive us, guys. We're in our conversation, and I know Dad's gonna jump in here in a minute, and it's gonna be good. Buzz says, "I now appreciate and enjoy doing simple things like doing the dishes." Yeah, and you can be very present doing the dishes and actually find that it is a pleasant thing to do.
It's funny because Buzz don't even have no idea what's around me right now. But my wife and I, we are very creative when it comes to decorating stuff, and so there we got this set of beautiful dishes that I'm surrounded by right now. And like you said, he appreciated Joy. I love the fact she the one who picked them out and got them, and I'm the one that decorated the table. You see what I'm saying? And after I did it, I took a picture of it. I'm like, wow,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
great.
yeah. Send me that picture. Send me that picture.
I will. I will.
Yeah. Buzz also said it is ego to think we have to be nice and kind. Amen. But I think it is important. I just try to be the best person I can be without trying too hard. I don't want to put pressure on myself. And that's good, Buzz, because I am convinced that when you wake up, you're not trying to be nice and kind. You're simply being truthful. Not truthful to the point of wounding a person, but truthful to the point that you're not acting inauthentically, trying to please them.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay?
I love what you said last week about being transparent leaders. That's what a lot of people are looking for, leaders that would be transparent, because what you said earlier about purpose, that we must understand purpose does not mean that is the thing that you're going to do for your entire life. All
Exactly.
right, that is your purpose at that given time or
Mhm.
moment. And so I'm dealing with that right now. And many of y'all don't know, Mom really helped me after the broadcast on last week. It was really more confirmation, because even what we're dealing with, or I'll make it more personal, even what I'm dealing with in this transition of life concerning, with ministry. And of course we just finished moving all of our stuff out of our building yesterday, and we do have plans. We will be fellowshipping somewhere else at the end of next month. And it's kind of keeping that secretive right now. It's not that much of a secret, but I'll let everybody know
Yeah.
as we get
Yeah.
plans straighten out and stuff like that. But you reminded me after the broadcast, and I want people to understand, because the word that she spoke to me and shared with me what happened to me back in 2007 is not a term for just sacred circles or just for Christianity or the church. She reminded me of the announcement that you guys made over my life back in 2007 about being an apostle in the area that I'm in.
Mhm.
All right. And so, of course, because of me accepting how progressive my thoughts are, and that I never really fit in, I felt myself um, allow myself to be confined to what religious expectations of what an apostle really is. But an apostle predates Christ. That word predates him. And so the church world really needs to get understanding what it means to be an apostle, because an apostle is not a churchy person.
Mhm.
If I could use that word, it is not, he's not a churchy person. So mom mentioned to me, because I am actually in transition, and it is a good transition for me, all right? Because I need to be the person who I actually am, and the announcement that was made over my life, just like God made the announcement over Jesus when he came up out of the water, when John baptized him. He said, "This is my beloved son in whom I'm well pleased." Jesus
Mhm.
never announced it himself. God made the announcement. And so when y'all made that announcement about being an apostle, about being a pioneer, mom also said to me, I need you to do something that has never been done before where you're at. And
Mhm.
that excited me, because now it caused my mind to expand and
Yeah.
see that it's much more to me and my role in the earth than what I really was walking
And
in.
what, yeah, and you now understand it more fully. And what I remember is, I don't remember the whole conversation, but I do remember the one thing that I said to you, that an apostle is usually set in a region
To
to
set the
to
climate.
change the climate
Exactly.
of that region. And I don't mean weather, I mean spiritual understanding and spiritual opening. It lays a foundation for people to be aware. And so, whatever the mindset has been in your region, in the region that you live in, that is been, you have been given the gift of gab to lay a foundation for those people to see differently than they've ever seen before. And so that's when you're not holding a title of apostle, you're actually doing the work. And so it's to change the mentality of the people.
Exactly.
Yeah. and
Exactly.
and it can't be what everybody else is teaching.
Yeah. And mom, soon as you said that, the whole sky opened up, and it it's rain coming right now. As soon as you said it was like boom and all of that.
Yes,
And so
yes, yes.
I understand that even the more, and that was confirmation to me, because I know that my language does not is not favorable to many in the circle that I've been in for a long time. And again, I'm talking about the religious circle. And when I
Because
say
it's now,
religious,
yeah,
I'm not bringing negative connotation, but I have to
right,
understand
right, right.
I speak in a language like you and dad. You
And
see what
well,
I'm saying?
and it's still mixed with enough of the church language that they can receive it. And
Exactly.
so that doesn't mean you're watering it down, but you're giving it to them in bite-sized pieces. And that's good, because to give it to them directly would would probably scare the, excuse my French, scare the hell out of them, make them run. So a lot of them run even with the bite-sized pieces. So that's very important, that you have that understanding, that it has to be wrapped in language that they are comfortable with, at the same time that you introduce the seeds of non-duality and the seed of oneness into it, and using their sacred script, their sacred text that they're familiar with, which is the Bible, and using the scriptures out of that sacred text that confirm what you're saying.
Hmm.
And that's really important. We got some more good uh comments I got to respond to. And Oliver says, Yo-Yo says, my hair looks good. Well, thank you, Yo-Yo. And then Buzz says, it's like saying before enlightenment, carry water. After enlightenment, carry water.
I like that.
Yeah, that's good. That's from
Buzz must be like kung fu movies.
that's from the Woo Wee. Yeah,
Yeah,
Woo
that's what I'm
Wee.
saying. Because I follow. I'm real big into the area of the martial arts, and so that's one of the things they talk about in
Mhm,
that time of enlightenment. They carry the water. It's
mhm.
actually a exercise that they take them through, and even after the fact, they still yet got to
Carry
carry
water.
the water.
Chop wood and carry water. That's
That's
exactly
right.
right. Oliver says this, which is very, very true. And
Yes,
in response to what we were talking about in purpose, he said purposes can be seasonal. And
yes,
that's a fact. We've learned that. And a lot of people I get thrown off when they think that it's for life. You know,
exactly,
this that I'm doing right now is for life. And in a lot of times it's not for life. And
exactly.
that's what causes people to feel like they're failures, as you mentioned before, because they thought I'm going to be doing like this, I'm going to be doing this for the rest of my life. And then when it folds up and you have to take a different direction, you have to shift and pivot for the times to remain relevant. They think they're a failure, or they think they're finished, and they're
Exactly.
not. It's just time to pivot, and that's where a lot of people miss their purpose. And Linda says one condition of asking a child, what do you want to be when you grow up?
That's
they,
good.
they think they are to be just one thing, and we need to ask, what all do you want to be? Yes,
Wow.
because there's really no limit to what you can be.
Yeah. And see, that's where I would say I've been and I can't put this on anybody else, but I've been unfair to myself. And
Mhm,
again, like I said, in the midst of the pandemic, that's when Father revealed to me that I allowed myself all these years to be confined by
mhm.
religious mindsets and by the
Yeah,
religious
yeah.
community that I was part of, because there are a lot of other things that I'm very passionate about. And I put all those things on a back burner once again to fulfill a role that was projected to me by the church world.
Yeah, yeah. I heard a minister say this. He's a very well known prophet. I won't even call his name, but in other words, he calls himself the master prophet, which he does fit that description. He's very accurate in that area. He made a comment once. He said he called his name. I'm gonna call him Joe. He said, "The bishop is fine. The prophet is fine, but Joe is not."
Hmm.
So he said, sometimes Joe personally needs coaching. And that's not the prophet, that's not the apostle, or that's not the bishop, or whatever your title is. He said that those are the two different aspects of the one. And so sometimes you need help. I like what Oliver says. He says the more appropriate description is an ambassador.
And
That's
that's what I've
another
been
way of
using.
looking at it. Yes.
And that
And
has been my word for this season,
yes. And
ambassador.
then he said a master builder. Yes, which is all what the function of an apostle is.
Exactly. Because
Yeah.
I've been talking about representing the Father, representing him well. And it's funny because I just got hired on as an ambassador for a nonprofit organization in the area. And
That's
so
good.
when they gave me the job description, they mentioned word ambassador, I started laughing because that has been my word that I've been using quite often here recently. And something else that you said concerning, and it's funny that you mentioned an individual. I believe I know exactly who you're talking about, but
Yeah.
it's funny that you mentioned that because the morning that I woke up concerning uh, what was presented to me about being reactive and being proactive, right after I sat down and I meditated on all that was being impressed upon me, I next heard his name.
Mm-hmm.
And soon as I heard his name, I was directed to pull him up on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
When I did, that's why I said it's funny how the universe comes into alignment with what God is speaking to bring
Yeah.
confirmation.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
when I pulled him up, guess what they were talking about? Being reactive versus being proactive. And I screamed.
Yeah.
It just came to me that morning when I woke up. And then as I further kept listening, the next statement that was made by him also was confirmation because I was doing the teaching on this since January. And he was telling the people to get ready to experience a new Genesis. And that has been my topic since January. And
Mhm.
so it was confirmation. And so by me hearing pull him up, it was revealing to me more of the direction that I would be going in this hour because he is actually fulfilling that model that was presented to me as
Yes.
well.
Yes. Yes. That's true. One more comment, and I'm gonna
Mm-mm.
allow
Go
that.
ahead. Go
You
ahead.
you you have something you want to
Mm-mm.
share?
No, go ahead. I'm just listening.
People ask me what Buzz says. People ask me what I do to be of service to others, but tell me to keep spiritual talk to myself. I don't know what to do. I don't know either, Buzz. I tell you, when they ask you things like that, they're trying to, let's see, how do I want to say it? It sounds like what they're saying is you don't fit their image of what they want you to be, and so they're trying to mold you into a certain image, and that's not for you to defy that, but it's because they expect you to look a certain way when you're awakened or when you're enlightened.
Mhm.
And so I don't know how to answer that except that I would just be myself.
But mom, you said it. I don't know if it was last week or a week before last, concerning when Jesus will often teach the multitudes through parables, and then the
Yeah.
disciples would ask him later on, "Okay, we need clarity or understanding on this." And he said to them, "For you, you are to know, but for them,
Mhm.
it was not for them to know." And so
Yes,
there's some people that are not ready to wake up.
exactly.
You see what I'm saying? And
Yes,
so we let them sleep on.
yes, yes. Dad, say something. You want to say something?
Something.
Something.
I like his get up. I want one of those.
Uh-oh.
That's yeah.
Scrubs.
He's wearing his scrubs today with his blue hat.
Oh yeah, I love. Hey, that's why I literally am so relaxed now that I actually said I'm going to buy me some scrubs. I said that last week.
They do wear well. They do.
When we forget our true self and go back to sleep, Maya, the illusionist, or we some call him Satan, is strong. When we remember who we are as truth, the pure self, there is no more darkness or deception. So when we get to the place where we understand with a non-breaking, pure recognition
Mhm.
of who we are, what we
Mhm.
are, and that brings to pass or to the full consciousness of essence. What is the big healing that takes place is when we embark upon a reciprocal gaze and see God as what he is in us. We find that we are the one gazing at ourselves
Mhm.
as him. So there's no me, you, or them.
Yes.
We just use that.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
Jesus appeared to the disciples based on the book on the Emmaus Road, he began to expound to them about different things, but they didn't know who he was.
So their eyes were holding.
Their eyes were holding.
Mhm.
And they start talking about things on the way as to how he was, what he went through, and they still didn't know who he was. And when he got ready to leave from them, they start talking about the way breaking bread.
Mhm.
They recognized who he was, and it scared them.
Mhm.
You may, or whatever you are, or we are, and let's just say zero. it said in First John, in the beginning was the Word. The Word was created. The Word created things. I asked the question one time: was it in Greek, Latin, Spanish, or what did he create the world by Ebonics?
Were there even
Were they
words?
even words? But here's what I'm beginning to understand: essence communicates, and I'm asking the question. If it is him asking the question, I have to take a chance on it. Something does anyway.
Mhm.
Who's asking the question and who's going to get the answer, or who is the answer answering himself? I'm aware that you sitting there and all of those that are listening, there's a gaze that's going on through your eyes and behind your eyes. I can see you.
Mhm.
I love it when I can walk up to myself in other people and tell myself I see him.
Mhm.
I like to do that. I look at the people in the grocery stores and I look at people around me and I'll tell them how great they are, but I'm talking to something or someone that they think is them
Mhm.
in the conditioned self, but
Mhm.
I'm talking to them that they don't know, that the
Yes.
conditioned self don't know.
Yeah.
But the pieces of us are recognized through the mind, it's recognized through the ego, and
Mhm.
it will take that piece. It would take that piece. It will take that piece. I hear something. Your mama is coming across a new flavor, new taste, a new smell in her house with some new cooking invention or something of a commodity that she's going to try or is trying to cross over to sell, to introduce. Your mama had, Pastor Norman, your mother had, I see her in a school cooking class when she was young. I wish that I could bring that to pass for her now, but it always say too much water going under the bridge. But but I also feel your mom, and I can see her standing beside a car, and she's uh, trying to decide what needs to be fixed first or serviced first. That's what I feel. That's what I see. She's also dealing with something about her hair. I don't know. I don't understand that. I do know that she's in a great place of God as her unveiling some things that has to do with one, two, three, four, five, and six things to do. And I'm telling her this: take your time, take your time. It'll be okay. And I wish that I could tell her what is going to take place with some new people that she's going to be introduced to. But I see her at the table again, and she's something she's putting together for a new type of recipe. I don't understand this. I just
Well,
see it.
I do understand if you
I
want me
see it.
to elaborate on it, and
I,
you hit everything on the head. Number one, we just talked last week.
yeah,
Made something different that she
yeah.
had added to the list of things that she sell, and so
Oh,
I was able to taste the
okay.
new thing that she
Oh,
and she said, Norman, I'm going to add this to my list of things for sale and stuff like that. So
wow.
she did just do that a couple of weeks ago, and we talked about it last week. I said, Mom, yeah, you need to add that because it is good. Actually, it's two things that she's coming up with, a
Okay.
new recipe.
Okay.
The other thing is concerning her car. She's dealing because she has had that car for
Yeah.
a forever.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so she afraid that she said she gonna keep fixing and ride it till the wheels fall off or whatever until she's
Okay.
forced
Yeah.
to get in a new car. And then the other thing is she does deal with different things concerning her hair and so forth and so on. And so yeah,
I
you
see
hit
it. I see one of the architects from in the Old Testament standing in front of her that had to do with the structure of the tabernacle in the wilderness. But he's standing over her because there's something about the house, there's something about a roof, there's something about repairs, and he's telling her the best way to go to
That
get
that
something fixed.
that just happened. I would say maybe a few months ago.
Yeah,
Just had a whole new roof done.
roof. Yeah,
And I
yeah,
didn't tell you that she had a whole new roof done,
yeah,
and there because it was leaking, and
yeah. I saw it.
then she just had a guy that might have been 2.5 months, maybe 3 months ago. He had to come in. You know how you got the popcorn look on the ceiling?
In the seal. Yeah.
Yeah, they had to redo that for her, paint the walls, and there's
Oh,
all of that just happened
I see.
just a couple of months ago.
Yeah, I see.
Okay.
So yeah, you saw that.
She said she's going to have to wait something about her medical reimbursement or coverage,
Okay.
like the what they call it, rabbit hole or something like that. They call it.
The donut hole.
Oh, it's a donut hole. Oh, I think the rabbit hole.
And that's
You're thinking about Alice in Wonderland.
Rabbit hole.
only in regard to your medications too.
Well, I thought
not
it was
rabbit hole.
a rabbit hole,
It's a donut
a
hole.
coon dog hole, or
That's
something.
Thinking
what
about
people
Alice
do.
in Wonderland when he said
Wonderland.
rabbit hole.
Huh?
I said you thinking about thinking about Alice in Wonderland when you said rabbit hole.
Yeah. I thought about her. Yeah.
Mhm.
But that is the basics of what I had to say and more.
Yeah.
There is absolutely no way that what was set up for this dimension for anything to not to be used to bring God as supposedly losing his memory of himself in this dimension. So God is God's restoring the memory back to himself. I don't know how you do this, but it's the way you do it.
Yeah, I understand that.
And he has walked as us in this dimension in such a mysterious way that I can tell there's an unveiling of himself to himself
Mhm.
as people look in the mirror.
Yes.
Mhm.
And wait a minute, here we go again. Is it going again? I'm in the dentist's office and I'm watching your mom again. And I see an adjustment to her teeth and gum. And it's kind of like something was removed or pulled. It has something to do with the structure of her gums. And her gums is like it's got a weak place, dip place in it, and it needs to be strengthened or something so that something in there can fit without her being disturbed as she go through the day. And I'm also asking and affirming that she'll rest good because she hasn't been doing that.
Woo, boy, you. I wish my mom was watching right now. Dad, you do know. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Again.
Oh yeah, her prescription. Something about the glasses. Something about prescription glasses. I heard that part. Prescription change of eyeglass vision. Okay, go ahead.
Well, she not too long ago, several months ago, she had a surgery done on her teeth. Really, it was like the bone in her looked like another row of teeth that was
Oh wow,
teeth, and so it was a major surgery
wow.
that they had to do, and then come to find out there was something that was done wrong.
Uh-oh.
And so it has been giving her major problems to the point that she could not sleep. She could not eat certain things.
Oh,
and so
Lord.
she's been dealing with this for months now, only for them to discover that there was a mistake that was done. The money that she paid, she had checked her account one day and there was a large sum of money that was back in her account. She was trying to figure out where it came from. And so when she went to get the thing checked out, that's when they told her that the money that was given back to her, she didn't even know it was from them because somebody made a mistake. And so now she goes into surgery the end of this month. No, not this month, next month, July. She has a surgery scheduled for them to correct what they did wrong in her mouth.
Oh my
And
Jesus.
so you are absolutely on it.
It's amazing.
Yeah, that's what I saw. I see all that, but it comes in pieces, but I see it.
Ilona says, Bishop, sorry,
What'd she say?
do you ever sleep or are you always traveling in the spirit? Mostly traveling, Ilona. Mostly traveling.
People used to ask me that a lot. I asked her a lot when I was younger. Since the hearing thing has come up in my left ear, I don't talk to a lot of people about this. As far as sleeping, I've never had slept a whole lot.
It's always been broken up.
Because I developed a habit of, in the still of the night, going in my closet. And I've done that ever since I was 4 or 5 years old. But I stopped as I got to be a teenager, and I went back into it again after we met each other and got married. So that calling, it's not a calling, it is a...
But you are called to the closet.
Yeah.
And that goes back to what we were talking about earlier.
And that's times when I don't go in there, and I don't want to go in there.
But that has been your calling.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And I like what Gwen, hey Lady Gwen, she says a Skywalker.
Exactly. That's what we call Valley Walkers. Years.
There are Valley Walkers and then there are Skywalkers.
I saw Mahalia Jackson on the other side. She was a Valley Walker.
Yeah.
I had a chance to see her over there.
Yeah, we had that for years. And I know Mom is absolutely correct about you being called to that, because if y'all remember the Posse, the four that used to come stay with y'all.
Oh, yes.
I
do. Yes, I do.
I mean, we encounter and experience a lot of things, especially with you guys, especially Dad. I remember being with you guys. Y'all would let us come spend a weekend with you guys, and we would be watching TV, and then all of a sudden, Dad would just cut the TV off. Let's pray. And right then and there, we had to stop what we was doing and just go into the spirit of whatever. And so I know that our past had to cross. And of course, y'all being my spiritual parents and especially Dad being my guru, because like I said, I felt so out of place for so long. And it was you guys that helped me to even begin to grasp who I actually am. All right. It was a very difficult journey. People don't understand when you feel like a fish out of water, you're always trying to fit with a certain group of people. It can cause you to have suicidal thoughts.
Yes.
Literally. And a lot of people don't know that I dealt with that in my youth a lot, because I never felt like I fitted anywhere until I met you guys.
Yeah.
I like to stop people, especially when they have children with them. I like to talk to them, the children. One thing I personally have trouble dealing with is children who've been around grown people so much that they act grown and become very rude and disrespectful. I have to get over that. But I mean, when we grew up, you get out the kitchen, grown folks talking.
Were seen but not to be heard.
You might be old style, but that's just the way it was. I like to be in the store and see somebody coming toward me, and I'll say, all of a sudden I'll say in myself, I ought to tell them something good about themselves. But then after I get in the Jeep and go pull off, I said, doggone, I missed an opportunity to do it. So I like to see and meet people in the marketplaces.
Yes, you do.
And talk to them. When I used to do the Santa Claus thing before I had the first bariatric surgery, I used to have a lot of people, because my beard was much longer, they used to call me that Santa Claus man. But I like to tell people about the essence. I think I told them last week about the lady I saw at the car place, didn't I?
You did.
Yeah. So it's once you become fixed in the no the no struggling self.
Baby girl's getting antsy.
Yeah, there she comes.
She's
She
eating all her treats.
just come over here. She just stuck her head up. She said, "I'm ready for some attention."
Oh,
Look at it. Look at it. You see her head there? She got that nose
She's
up there.
been wagging her tail and hitting the
Yes.
blinds.
And her nose
trying
is
to get y'all
cold. but she-
attention.
Uh,
Trying to get y'all attention.
yes.
Oh yeah, she don't like it. When you
Yeah,
don't give her attention, she'll
well,
let
well,
you know.
and when it's close to time, she starts to. She knows the time. I don't know how she knows it, but she
There
knows.
is not one area of our life that is not directed toward causing Christ to see himself as us. And this will continue on in evolution until Christ fully is seen himself in us as us in every dimension of the universe.
Mhm.
That's not selfish. It is one of the most amazing structured manifestations of the Father consciousness
Yeah.
that must fulfill itself, because it's not about positionalities, it's not about titles, and it's not about brick and mortar, but it is about God is everything in the universe.
I wanted to speak to this, what Alona was sharing. Yes, Alona, you've seen so many things of what they both have done in the church setting, and now finding their ministry broadening, because it is now for us specifically, there's no more brick and mortar, and so there's no more personal interaction, face to face kind of settings for us at this moment. But to have the same, we realize that it's being expanded because we have to touch different people's lives, and those were necessary times. I think it was more than just doing exploits. I think it was times of training for those who were with us. It was really times of training, and realizing, especially in the case of growing out legs, there is the fake. The fake is out there, but there is the real as well. And in order to grow out a leg, a person has to steal their insides, and that technique, most church people aren't even aware of. That technique came from those hours of praying in the spirit, praying in tongues, where you had to uh, restrain your mind long enough to do that without going to sleep. That's a lot of that was training for people to go within to their inner self, where the power lies.
Exactly.
And I think we've been our the most of us have been taught that the power lies in God outside of us, or the power lies in the Holy Spirit in us, but still not us. But when you do that, Alona, you have to still yourself, not so much for some power that is not of you to come through, but your own self comes through. And it's like there's a movement inside yourself that takes place, and then the leg moves. It goes back to the movie The Matrix, when Keanu met the little boy and the little kids who were in the room. They were bending spoons, and the little girl said to him, or the little boy, whatever that was, said, the trick is not to bend the spoon, but bend yourself. So those were training days. Those were very good training days.
It's called giving up, not being distracted from seeing God 24/7
as yourself.
Exactly.
Either you, it's something about. She used to tell me when we first met each other, I looked at her all the time, and
you still do. He does.
So I got that honest too, eh?
He does.
I stand over the bed in the morning when sometimes I go out. She don't know. I'm just standing over the bed looking at her and telling her essence that I'm going to do something. And I said that she don't know it, but I tell her essence what I'm getting ready to do. So I don't call her to wake her up. I just talk to her inside. he taught me how to talk to the inside of people and communicate with. So the distraction, you find a reason to not to be distracted anymore because your values change.
Mm-hmm.
Your importance is like it's like I like cinnamon donuts,
Cinnamon buns.
see, and
Yes,
when
he
I talk
does.
about it,
Ooh, yes, they good, Dad. They good.
especially when you get them heated in the microwave.
No
My wife
goodness.
be
See, my point,
bringing them to me when she comes from work.
when you get the taste, when you get the taste of actually, you're no longer experiencing God from studying and reading. From you no longer experience God from ink, paper, and letters on paper. I tried to when over there. I tried to pull a piece of a contract back over here with me, and it dissolved in my hand before I could get across. There is a knowing that is beyond book.
Yeah, we talked about this
Yeah.
yesterday.
Yeah,
The mental reference that your life must go beyond mental references. I heard Rupert Spira, who's a non-dual teacher, say this. He said that you should answer. Now that was Muji. He said you should answer, but not from a memory.
yeah.
If someone asks you a question, don't answer them from a reference of memory that you have about something you remembered, but answer them from consciousness.
Exactly.
So now
That answer must come intuitively.
I don't want to. I'm interested in seeing with my mouth and hearing with my eyes and moving without taking steps, traveling without changing locations.
Mm-hmm.
There is a you have to be. I'm going to try to put it in words. It's a wordless saying, and it makes you want to place your words as close as possible to essence.
Yes.
Because right now I'm in a mode of wanting to find out how does essence really communicate, and I'm into a mode of I can't put it in words, but I want to. I know it's him searching for himself.
Yes.
Tell me you can't mix water and oil together. I think you can. That's what I'm going to do as alchemist, they call it. I'm mixing this stuff together because I want to find out. It's say well, God starts and finishes, and where we finish and starts to no end.
No end.
If God is a universe on the tip end of a needle, I want to stand on the tip end of this needle and experience that universe on the end of a needle. I can look at your feet now under the table, and I can see the essence of the feet of Jesus from a 9.5, 8, 9.5, 10 shoe. But at the same time, I can feel the essence of the presence of breath coming through you, and how the hand inside your hand is touching the other hand. But there's a place where you leave your body and you won't feel your body anymore. You look at it and you look at it and say, is that me? And then you find out, no, me is the one looking at it. Okay. So you run, you see, it's kind of like we're running with God. You know that.
Yes. I like that statement.
God done it.
We are God's hoodlum. We are God's hoodlum and God's street life.
Oh, okay.
Talking about street life.
Uh-oh.
What you know about that? What you know about that, Dad? What you know about that?
Yeah.
He likes that stuff. He likes
that New York. I'm a native New Yorker.
Oh,
If I don't come by plane, I go by train.
Yes.
Oh,
I don't care how I get there. Just I just want to be there.
We've been here an hour, you know.
Yeah. Oh,
We've
but
been
we're
here
gonna
an
quit
hour.
now. We're gonna stop.
And we've talked about everything under the sun, I think, today.
Look, you guys, I'm
Good.
looking for $1,000 to come in my mailbox, and anything else they want to come in there. So I call it into existence for everybody on this site. That's the end of my story right there.
It is.
Yep. Uh-huh. Now
Oh,
you
it is.
go ahead.
Jill said God's
God's thugs.
That's right. That's
like
the truth. Thank you very much.
Wow.
Yes, yes. Get on board. The soul train, the spirit train, the infinite train, the eternal train. Hot dog.
Hey, Dad, I wanted to share this while you was talking. I was reminded of something, and I am actually experiencing the results of that decision several years ago when we was there for the church and clergy workshop that they do every year in January with Laverne. I remember we came and met with you guys, Elder Earl and Elder Adele, and we went to eat at the Japanese restaurant.
Yeah.
And I remember you in the midst of us just talking, having fun. You looked to me and you made this statement. You said, in order for you to be successful in what you want to do at Bowl, you have to stay asleep. And immediately the impact of your words hit me in my chest, and I immediately reacted with tears because I instinctively, the real me instinctively knew what you were saying. And my reply to you was, but I don't want to go back to sleep. And so I realize now what I'm experiencing now was based off of, as you being my guru, you presented to me two paths.
Okay.
Two paths. And I had to make a decision. And I made a decision not to go back to sleep. And I am experiencing the results of that decision today.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes.
Because if you did with the statement I made,
Yep.
Yeah.
I realized that while you was talking.
Yeah.
See, you're the only one as the life of Christ that can tear your reverse out going forward. You can tear your reverse out going forward. You're the only one that can look at a bullfrog and see if it's watertight. You're the only one that can look at a train with iron wheels on it and can tell when it's ready to have a flat tire.
Okay.
You're the only one that can be in the airplane and the airplane wheels go flat. You can get out and put new tires on it and still land just right. You're the only one that can kill a rock record train and dare a piece of iron to catch rheumatism. You're the only one that can make water go uphill. Yes, you can. And that's the part of the mystical side of you. You can stop a drop of water from hitting in your face and suspend itself in midair. All you have to do is look, or allow the look of love.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
I hear the music of it. The look of love.
Oh my goodness.
That is funny.
Well, you guys, we have been here for an hour and 8 minutes, and it has been fun being with you again today. Hope you got something out of all of these things we talked about. I know we didn't talk a lot of mystical things except for when Dad talked, but we did talk about how change affects us and how to navigate through that. And I think that's a never-ending subject, don't you? Because we started, and it's just it's been ongoing.
It's constant. It'll never stop. There will be something. There will be something new we will wake up to tomorrow.
I know. And Linda's talking about baby girl.
Baby girl.
Where is she?
That she's over here. That about baby girl over here.
Yeah, baby girl.
She over on the side.
Linda said we need to get baby girl a chair and just put it.
I wish we could set up right here between us and let her sit there.
Now that would be an experience. That would be an experience.
Where are you, Pooh?
This she's over here. I'll call you.
Come here, Pooh. She's waiting for us to get up. Come here. Let's say hey to Linda. She said hey to Linda. Let me move that so she can say hey to Linda. Because Linda's there it is. Baby. Yeah, she's a mess. Baby girl's a mess.
See, they won't talk to you.
Hey there, baby girl.
Yes, that's baby girl.
That's the baby girl. Oh, you heavy girl.
She's heavy. The other day she pulled a muscle, and when she did,
That's the girl. I get the girl. That's the baby.
When she pulled that muscle, she
you see,
she was limping, and she got well enough to get. She jumps up on the edge of our bed and sleeps at the bottom of the bed, and she didn't want to jump back down because she hurt her leg.
Okay.
So I had to pick her up and take her off the bed.
Wow.
But she's good now. She's good.
Protecting it now.
I know how she feel because I feel like I pulled every muscle and ligament in my body the past week and a half.
Yeah, and she's 10 years old, so she still got energy like a puppy, and so she plays real hard, and then she pulls a muscle because she's older.
She's done that before.
Yeah, so that's where we have to kind of watch it when she plays so hard now. But anywho, we are glad you guys tuned in to us. We're glad you showed up today. Yes. And we'll be back again. Pastor Normal will be back at 11 on Sunday. We'll be back at 10 on Sunday. And we'll see you again next week for Impromptu.
We'll talk some more about what it means to walk through closed doors.
Yes.
Because everything that we approach that's like a door, being the door that we go through, makes it easier to pass through.
And Alona says these teaching needs to go worldwide.
Yes, there we go.
That's why we say hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, because it pushes us up in the algorithm so that when people are looking for these kinds of subjects, they'll find us right quick, and that'll give us the opportunity to go worldwide. So hit that button right now. Okay?
You're the essence in orange juice. You're the essence in apple juice. You're the essence in everything that has life.
See you guys later. Bye-bye.